Got some people get in here. Sorry about the glare. I got the windows behind me. Slightly different location in the shop than where I used to be. So how are you guys doing today? It's been a pretty busy week. Really busy, actually. Work and everything. Sorry for the light stuff coming in. I don't have blinds on these. These are the two outside windows in my shop. I don't have blinds on them, so we're getting that kind of light effect. Because it's kind of a different view of the shop. There's the 100-ton press. There's the bandsaw. There's the hard cut-off saw right there. There's the toolbox. We get some more people in here. I'm thinking about maybe changing the day I do the live streams to one of the weekdays. I'm thinking like Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. It just seems like on Sundays I'm always so busy. Taking more time. We'll see. Yeah, that's one thing. I'll probably do a video this week, seeing what time works for a lot of people. I can do random ones too, especially for the people that live out of the country. That way, they can catch one or two. That'd be cool. So yeah, I'll do a video on that. That way we get a vote or see what works for you guys. Let me try to fix this camera a little bit. It's just the terrible glare from the outside light. That seems to have helped a little. Yeah, crazy busy week. Crazy busy. Long hours at work, and then long hours here in the shop. Got a lot of work done though. Very cool. DNF logging. So yeah, like I was saying, I might change the day we do. Sundays are always slammed for me. So I might do, I'm thinking Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. That's a day not a lot of other people do live streams. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I did get one new addition to the shop. It's sitting over there. There'll be a video on it tomorrow. Had to do some wiring and stuff to get it going, but it's going. Then Friday or Saturday, I'm going quite a ways away to get four new machines. Some of it's stuff that I'm just going to sell. But the big thing is there's a punch press and a big 2-wheel bandsaw that I'm going to modify for metal cutting. And then, what else? There's a wood lathe in the stuff for doing porch posts. So I don't have any interest in that. I'll get rid of that. There's a post leg blacksmith vise. I'll get rid of that. There's a big Wilton woodworkers vise. I'll get rid of that. There's a Logan turret lathe there, but he can't find the turret. So it's just the headstock and the bed. So he said he's wanting to sell that to me for $150 or $120 if he couldn't find the turret. And I might just get it for the... I hate to buy stuff like that and bring it home just for the headstock, but we'll see. Hopefully he'll find it. So yeah. But the one new addition to the shop is very cool. Something I've been looking for a while. So there'll be some good videos on it. I'll be finishing got the cabinet all done. It's sitting over there. I cleared the wall and some wiring and stuff for it. So I'm hoping to actually mount it to the wall tonight. Get most of the wires ran. And then hopefully kick on the old 15-horse motor with it and see what happens. I have been impressed with that kit for the $130 it was, or $135 or something like that. Very impressed with the components in it. It didn't come with enough wire or wiring ends, but no big deal there. Another thing is you could take one of those kits and let's say one of your motors, or a smaller motor, you could put that box on your machine and make it come on with a button without running it through a phase converter, because it'll start the 3-phase motor. But obviously that's not ideal, but could be done. Just be like a static phase converter. With more capacitors than a static typically comes with. I'm not a big fan of static phase converters. They get hot. Yeah, we'll push that 15-horse motor over there. I got to take the pulley off of it. I'll mount the cabinet tonight, and hopefully Tuesday we'll be pushing that button for the first time. And then we'll officially be able to power everything in the shop. So there's a weird noise outside. And then when I went and got the new shop edition, I can't remember his name. Jason from Fireball Tool. He was there buying a lathe from the same guy. This was in Spokane. So he had a forklift and helped me and my uncle load that. It saved a lot of time. He's a nice guy. And that, I believe his name was Will. He was there too. And there's a chance, I was talking to him, the big 24-inch double wheel grinder that might leave my shop. So takes a lot. I haven't decided yet. We'll see. I have the head on the mill this week too. Yeah, VFDs. I used to have the 3-phase outlet. I had a 5/4 VFD a long time ago, and I ran it to an outlet, and it was programmable. You could have 3 or 4 memory settings in it, and I just would plug in different things and change the memory on it. I got it used at an auction. It worked for about 2 years before it burned up. And VFDs are a good way to go for a lot of things. I just have so many different machines at so many different horsepowers. For the $130 that kit costs, to actually be able to flip a button and get it going instead of starting that motor with a rope like it was. So, hey, John Rat's Welding Machine. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, crazy busy week. I still got stuff to do tonight, too. I got to move this guy, which I'll probably be getting rid of that machine right there. I never use it. It's a wet, hard cutting saw for cutting hardened materials. Got it at an auction and fixed it up. That's next on the getting rid of list. And I'm on this guy right here. $100-ton press behind us. So like I said, this next Saturday, I'm going to go get 4 new machines. Well, really only 2 machines for the shop. The punch press and the 2-wheel bandsaw. Maybe the Logan turret lathe if he can find the turret. I know $120 isn't much for, to buy a... But I'd be buying a lathe that is just the bed and the headstock. Because there's no tailstock because there's a turret lathe. And if he's missing the whole turret part, I don't know. I'll look at it while I'm there. If it has a lot of gears in it, maybe I'll get it just to have the gears on hand. There's a chuck on it too. So, good chuck, good motor. Well, it's going to have to be in pretty immaculate shape, though. Hydraulic 7 stack phasers and big lathe. A VFD lathe. That's what I ordered one for the horizontal milling machine because it's pretty crudely driven because it's so old, just to have more spindle speed, more control over the spindle speed. The machine I got new yesterday, I was going to make the drive system work for it and the mill. I don't know if I want to mess with that. I have tons of 3-phase motors I can run off a VFD and power it just like that. So it's probably what I'll do. Got a couple 3-horse Bowder motors. I'll probably throw one of those on it. It's going to be primarily a keyway cutting machine. That'll be its biggest job it gets in my shop. Yeah, send the motor to the vertical mill. The head will be on it Tuesday's video or Wednesday's. I'll have the head on it. The shop I took it to be rewound, it's very low priority to them, very far. I don't blame them. It's irrigation season here. So all the pump and motor shops are slammed with motor jobs. But we will get it rewound. But the machine I got yesterday will actually take care of some of the jobs I need the vertical mill for. Yeah, really excited to kick on that new phase converter kit for the first time. Excited and nervous a little bit. So got a 40 amp breaker I need to put in and run the wires down in the motor. I stripped all my old stuff out. I didn't show the old setup I had because it was kind of hokey. It was all safe and legit and all that. It looked bad. So, hey, Mike Dumb, or I assume Dumb. Sorry, selling. No, that's not bad. I guess the thing for me about paying for a phase converter is I have oodles of 3-phase motors. I have 15s, 10s, 3s, 5s, tons of them. And I have tons of enclosures. So if I could find a way just to buy the insides, and I know how to wire, all that kind of stuff. I did look at American Rotary. I looked at there's a guy that sells balanced ones here I think he's in Oregon. I looked at a 40 horse from him for a while, but then I got to looking at my power needs, and that's still on the horizon if I get larger machines. We'll see. Oh, dude, okay. I thought that as soon as I said dumb. We have been a crazy busy week in the shop. Very busy. A lot of little stuff mostly. I finished the last of the painting on the big lathe, the cross compound, cross feed, the carriage. That's all painted now, so it just needs to be put together. I ran the 14-inch reed for quite a while this week. It's getting an oil change. I'll do a video this week. It's getting its oil changed. But it's I've been very happy with that. Of course, I wish it had a tailstock, but it's very nice running machine. I need to adjust the brake a little bit. The clutch works fine. Everything else on it works fine. Just need to adjust the brake. So, and that machine's been down because I had to take my phase converter stuff apart to do that kit. So, and then you get the Hypermat going. But I'm hoping to have the big reed. I want to have it done in 2 weeks. I don't think that's going to be pushing it too much. So I just need to assemble the carriage and apron and all that stuff. So. Yeah, if you don't have access to the motors and all that stuff, buying a pre-built, already made one makes a lot of sense. That way, too, it's just plug and play and you're done with it. It'd be nice for me to have one start with a button instead of a rope or a pony motor. Ooh. Sorry, I'm a little. It was bright out. Very busy week. I was on the road for 6 hours yesterday getting the new machine. I don't like to travel. I'm not a wandering guy. So that's a lot of time in the car for me. It was worth it though. Very cool machine. And then I have to go even further next Saturday to get the bandsaw, that punch press, and that stuff. That stuff's over in Idaho. I think it's 3 hours from me. Let me look real quick. It is. Oh, it's only 2.5 hours from me, so that's not bad. The only concerning thing is the stuff's in a wooden barn. It's covered in oil, but it's in a wooden barn that you have to cross a homemade wooden bridge to get to. So that could be interesting. But I'll be able to sell the post leg vise, and that post leg vices go for crazy money here. They're like $300. But I'm paying $500 for a post leg vise, the Wilton bench vise, or wood clamping vise, big, huge wood lathe, punch press, and the bandsaw. So I'll be able to sell that. I'll sell that wood lathe for $300 probably, in the post lathe vise for that. It's one of those wood lathes that comes with, you use your own beams, so you can make it as big as you want. And he was making, he had a business making the posts for porches and stuff that were 8 foot long. So he was telling me you could probably convert it to a metal lathe, and I was like, no, you cannot. So he's a really nice guy, though. Then randomly, he has a really nice press brake. He wants like $4,000 for. He has all that other stuff, $500, but he wants $4,000 for the press brake, 10 gauge. And I'll get that Logan lathe if he finds the turret for it, because that's $150. But I hate to bring home a lathe that's tailstockless and carriageless. So yeah, now that a few more of you are watching, is there a certain day of the week between, let's say, between Tuesday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that would be good for live stream at the same time? I just find myself really busy on Sundays. I love doing the live stream, but like I couldn't do one last Sunday because I had my kids. So we'll do a vote or something on that. Sit around, I don't know. Yeah, the wood lathes make something cool for welding. I have that rotary welding table thing. I am so on the fence about keeping that or getting rid of it. I don't do a lot of in the shop flange welding and stuff like that. That's all in the field. So, but it can be turned sideways. The table pitches from, flat to up flat. So it would be good for doing weld buildup on shafts turned horizontally. But it takes up a lot of room. It is cool. But hey, old iron lover. Any day works for you. Being retired would be nice. I'm a ways away from being retired. So yeah, we'll see about the welding table, the rotary thing. It is cool. I do like it. All I'm waiting for is the 1-horse VFD for it. I ripped off all the, I think I filmed a video on it, just haven't posted it yet. I ripped all the old variable speed stuff on it, put a C-face 3-phase motor and just waiting for the VFD. You're retired too? I would love to spend all day in my shop. Soon, well, not soon. I'm only 38, so got a few years in me before I start thinking about that. I'll do a video on tomorrow. Super cool. I've been looking for one forever. They never show up in my part of the country. They did about 15 years ago. There were a lot of them, and not anymore. It's a little older than I would have liked, but I have it and it works. Yeah, the headstock from that big wood lathe, because it's a big wood lathe headstock. The guy said it's a 20 inch or 22. And it comes with two 8x8 beams, and you bolt the head stock to one end, you bolt the tail stock to the other, and make your wood stuff out of it. We'll see. I'm not sure how it's powered either. The punch press is an older punch press that was line shaft driven, but it has a motor bracket he made in the back. It's not a huge punch press by any means. I know where there's a gigantic punch press I could have for free about 20 miles from me. The flywheel on it is probably 30 or 32 inch, and it is heavy. It's actually, he has it outside on his garage pad, and it has settled the corner of the pad that's on. So I'd be wary about my floor. I'm sure I've never drilled into the floor of my shop. I'm sure it's your standard thickness. I know around the edges it's a little thicker. It's like 6 inches around the poles and around the perimeter. Yeah, this should be good week. We'll get the phase converter going. I got it all said before. It's all together. I cleared a spot for it on the wall. Just got it mounted to the wall. Run an hour's worth of wiring from the breaker panel to it down to the motor, back up to the panel. And we'll be able to flip that switch, and hopefully all the electricity stays contained within the components. So I don't know if I can run. I want all the components in it protected, So I thought about maybe getting one for a 10 horse. I have a lot of 10 horse 3-phase motors, and that would run most of the machines. Think about maybe running it to 2. I don't know. Then I have that big, huge transformer. So I do need to find a place for that. Unfortunately, that transformer is very large, very heavy. But I can put it outside. It is an external one. I can put it outside. I can pour a little pad outside. I'll put a cover over it and run outside and run back in. That would really save some space. That's maybe what I do with it. The only dedicated 480 volt equipment I have is the 4-head drill press, which I still am not excited about that. Yeah, equipment, machinery stuff here is terribly expensive. I'd love to have a horizontal boring mill. I do a lot of pump housings, and I think it'd be handy for that. I know where there's a vertical turret lathe, that a two-head one, that would be perfect for the pump housings I do. But the guy's just not ready to get rid of it. It's at a local machine shop. He used it when he was there. When they updated equipment, they gave it to him, and he put it in their storage lot. He says, "I know I'll never put it in my shop. I'll never use it again, but I just can't get rid of it." But yeah, that's what I'm having to do, John. Is I have to drive now 2.5, 3, 4 hours away to find machines. There's just none here in my area anymore. I'm sure they would find that warm. Also, the hum of a transformer can be kind of soothing. Oh, and then there's a nice looking, yeah, it looks nice on the outside. Monarch lathe at an auction that ends in 3 weeks here at the monthly auction place. There's a machine shop in town. When they send machines to the auction, they always take the compound off, and you never get any chucks or anything. But what they do, and you have to really look for it, on the back side of the machine, on the ways that the carriage rides on, they take a grinder and they mess up the ways. So that way the machine is not, they try to render it as sellable but as not useful as possible. That way no one buys it and is in competition with them. What they used to do about 10 years ago is they would keep the compound and the cross slide and tailstock, and they would sell the lathe at the auction. And people around here pay crazy amounts for lathes because they don't show, especially bigger lathes, they don't show up very often, especially Monarchs and American Pacemakers, stuff like that. And then, like a month after the auction, they'd post an ad with the cross sliding compound for a huge amount of money for something like that, hoping the person who bought the lathe would see the ad. And then it's unfortunate, but there was what was it? I forget the name of the lathe it was. About 4 months ago, they had gone in, because you can't run anything at the auction. It's all bought as is, where is. I was turning the spindle as much as I could and noticed there were dead spots in the gearbox on the feeds. And it turns out they had taken a bunch of the gears out of the feed train and stuff like that. So that's unfortunate. I mean, I understand. There's not a lot of machine shops in my area. They don't want. A lot of competition. It's getting windy outside. Actually, I didn't shut my gate. The wind is blowing my gate. So yeah, those machines I'm getting Saturday, they're 2.5, 3 hours away. I don't go to the west side of the state very often. There's a lot more machines in the Seattle area, the Oregon, the Portland area. There's a guy there that has a big warehouse full of tailstocks, steady rests, follow rests, chucks, aprons, carriages, all kinds of stuff. But he knows what his stuff is worth. I sent him the info. I actually made a template out of wood for the tailstock, for the ways, and then I made a triangle up to the center point of it and sent that to him and see if we had tailstock for the reed. I have a really, really small tailstock I could convert to work on it pretty easily. But again, I don't do a lot of tailstock stuff, but it is nice. Yeah, I'm gonna give myself 2 weeks to get the big guy done. Like I said, I got everything painted except for the few parts on the headstock. All the parts are painted and cleaned. I'll do some more assembly videos on it this week. Just gotta get the carriage and apron done. And yeah, I'm gonna put the big chuck on it, the big 4-jaw, and leave it on because I use a 4-jaw for most of the stuff I do. And I might see about making a backing plate to put the 12-inch chuck that was on the other one. You live in the part of Washington with a wheat growing area for me? They do grow a lot of wheat in my area. There's a lot of, I live in a very farm heavy part of the state. There's all kinds of apple orchards. Everyone's growing grapes now, of course. A lot of wheat just north of me. A lot of wheat fields. It's very hilly in this part. In fact, just 10 miles away, all the huge wheat fields. Every couple of years, get pretty good fires up there. It doesn't take it long to really sweep through a wheat field, depending on time of year. A lot of the farmers I take care of do alfalfa and what's that hay they feed the rabbit? Timothy hay and cherry orchards and stuff like that. Though cherry orchards in this part are kind of going by the wayside. Everyone's ripping them out, and a lot of apples. In the last 5 years, a lot of people have ripped out their stuff but grapes. And it changes the watering, so I trim a lot of pump impellers. Probably 40 or 50 a year when people change to grape. I don't know anything about farming, but I know when they change the grapes, they usually do drip irrigation so they don't need the flow they had before. So. We're a big crop circle area. There's lots of pivots. So I do field repairs on those quite a bit. Well, not quite a bit, but when I do field repairs, a lot of the time it's on pivots. So what have you guys been up to? Any cool projects that you guys are working on? Excuse me. I am super excited and appreciative about the number of subscribers I've been getting a week. It's about 12 to 15 new subscribers a week, and that is super awesome. So thank you guys. I'm at 657 now, so that's very cool. Very cool. How big of a shaper? I never heard of a Vernon. I like shapers. In fact, I'll let you guys in on the video I'm doing tomorrow. The machine I went and got yesterday was a shaper. So got it all wired in today and tested it out, and very cool. Uh, 12-inch. Most of the auctions have been online. They're just now letting people go to them, and you have to wear masks. But I heard the next ones, at least here, are going to be live. But the one that happens every month, there's chairs, and they're just going to space the chairs for their part. The big outside one, I haven't heard from them yet. I can't wait for them to be live because prices, when everything's online, prices are always higher. Always higher. It'll run. Yes, I do stay busy. But I like how busy I am. I don't watch TV. I don't watch movies. I don't go out and do stuff. I like going to work. I like coming home and working. So it's good balance. Of course, my kids are here. It's all of them. But I love being in my shop. I'm in my shop 3 times as much as I'm in my house. So 18-inch vertical bandsaw. I've never heard of that brand. That's a good size vertical bandsaw. Those 14-inch ones like I got are they're too small for a lot of things. They are too small. So anything over a 14 is good. If it has a blade welder on it, that's even cooler because you can make your own blades. Because blade stock is pretty cheap, depending where you get it from. Oh, that guy right there, that is I want to say it's a Champion. That guy is coming off the wall this week. When I move the stuff over here, it has these 2 forks that hold what you're drilling, and they catch me in the arm or the back when I'm walking by it all the time. Don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it needs to not be where it is right now. Yeah, the shop's getting full too. I'm starting to put more things that I can on casters so I can not stack the machines that I don't use very often. I have more room. I'm trying to keep the first third of my shop open. I don't know why, enough that I can pull a vehicle in here. I don't work on cars anymore. I used to do a lot of car work. I used to rebuild engines, so I don't do that anymore. Work on a lot of lawn mowers, so I don't commercial mowers, but I don't need that much room. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start encroaching on that work area a little bit. But I'd like to have at least the first 15 feet of the shop open for working inside for during the winter or when the weather's bad and stuff like that. But with the shaper and the bandsaw and the punch press I'm getting, as long as I don't get any more big lathes or mills, I might be set for a while. So I think I can kind of keep it contained for now. We'll see. Oh yeah, buffaloes. I have had a couple buffalo drill presses, more modern. Well, not post ones, but small benchtop ones. I liked them. Getting back to Mike there, the 18-inch bandsaw is good size. One that's variable speed is nice, or at least has the gearbox. I have one of those. It's a ductless things. It's a heater and it's an air conditioner. It's about 4 feet wide, about 18 inches tall. And it does an okay job in here in the winter. If I keep the big door shut, it'll keep it 65 in the shop. In the summer, it doesn't keep up. It with the metal roof on the building and stuff. I usually run box fans, and I just have air moving. It does okay when it's not like 100 degrees out, but once it gets above 85, it just runs all the time. But I've been happy with it. My old shop, I had a pellet stove, and this is a significant upgrade from the pellet stove. The shaper I have is 20-inch. Again, it's a little older than I thought. The last patent date on it's like 1912 or 1909. Oh, and the power machines. I knew a guy that had a bunch of that stuff, and I think it's cool. I still would like to have my dream was to have a section of my shop be line shaft driven. Like my horizontal mill, I could run off a line shaft. The shaper I just got can be run off a line shaft. I used to have a Hindi lathe and a Cisco lathe that could have been ran off a line shaft. My Camelback drill press could be run off a line shaft because it's flat belt. So I still want to do that. So I'll like the Camelback drill press. I'll never get rid of. I'll never get rid of the shaper. I'll never get rid of that horizontal thing. I had problems. I even was looking at steam-powered motors. But again, on the west side of the country where that stuff is less prevalent, that stuff is a fortune. So I don't know if the steam-powered part will ever happen. But even like line shaft hangers, in all the auctions and all the swap meets I go to, I've made in 10 years, I've maybe come across one hanger. But I did have an idea of using, I don't care so much if the hangers are legit old. Because you could use pillow blocks and stuff and pulleys and do all that. And flat belt pulleys never show up here. That's stuff I look for actively and hope to slowly acquire some. Yeah, I'll probably be better off with that than converting one. I had a super homemade wood shelled bandsaw a long time ago that someone made. It worked okay, but I'm bidding on one, a big Rockwell. I'm sure I won't get it at an auction in 3 weeks. When I go this Saturday to get that big 2-wheel one, I want to see what it will take to convert it to. I assume it's set up for wood cutting right now. I'll see what I can do to make it metal cutting. Because I have a couple gearboxes and stuff like that. It's big. It's a 20 inch, I think he said. I could use I need a bigger vertical bandsaw. That 14-inch one I have, it's that jet one that everyone copies. Harbor Freights is, I'm sure, the same. The Grizzly makes a version of it. Just that standard 14-inch metal and wood cutting bandsaw. It does okay. It's just blade goes pretty quick on it for being a metal saw. And it's like, I can't really change the pulleys on it because the way it's set up. I can put a VFD on it and then all this. And then soon enough, I have $200-300 into a $60 auction find bandsaw. So I just get something bigger and mess with it. I should have never got rid of that 22-inch, I think it was 22-inch vertical bandsaw I did a couple years ago. Should never got rid of that. So I'm not going to sell any more big machines anymore. I'll put them on my back porch if I just don't have room for them. Yeah, the 14-inch Reed Prentice ran really nice the other day. I'm behind on a few videos for it. I just needed it running, so I got it running. I'm going to change the oil in it probably Wednesday. So I took the head cover back off. It runs nice and smooth. Shifting, it's a little tight because the gears, I don't know if you guys watch videos on it, but the gears are so new and pristine in it that, they don't have any wear in from people shifting while it's coasting and stuff like that, like the Hypermac has. Everything on it is nice and tight and real nice machine. Wish it had a tailstock, but for what I do, it'll be great. I just need to see if I can make. It's got the taper spindle with the big, with the keyway. I haven't really looked at that 12-inch chuck I took off the big reed. I need to see if I can make a backing plate because it only has a 6-inch chuck on it, or 8-inch chuck, to see if I can adapt that bigger one. I don't know if I can with that style of taper on the chucks. I think they're pretty specific. Thanks for joining us, old iron lover. Love your channel. I like your videos. So if any of you guys watch me but don't watch him, you should definitely watch him. So 40 to 1 is a good reduction. Well, that would depend too if you're using a 1700 or 3400 RPM motor. I actually have some of those gearboxes. They're from an old bowling alley for the motors that bring the ball up and put it in the ball rack. I got them super cheap, and they're 22 to 1 or something like that. There's something weird. Dayton makes all of them. I bought them kind of just for something like that, converting on machines. Because they're remarkably stout gearboxes. They're about 10-inch by 10-inch by 10-inch. Like there's a cube. But they're all for bowling ball machines. And I always buy every gearbox I find at auctions that I can get. And I have a lot of input shaft, like female 1-inch input shaft to gear sprocket, which is kind of unfortunate. Those ones have a very deep reduction. I'll find a use for them one day. But again, some of that stuff goes for like $10 here. So. But yeah, this guy here is probably going to go sometime soon. I just don't use it. And basically, it's a big fancy abrasive cutoff saw is all it is. It's a hard saw for cutting like drill bits and hard materials. It has you can see right there, it has a coolant pump set up. It's a 3-horse, 3-phase motor. Got it at an auction. But I haven't decided where the shaper's going yet. I was going to move my toolbox here, move this, put the shaper right here. The shaper is very thin, but it's very long. It's like 7 foot long when you account for the stroke. So it's going to go somewhere else. The bandsaw might go there. Or I might rotate the 100-ton press around. So we'll go here for a bit longer. I got some more stuff to do tonight. Not unfortunately, but just need to get it done. But so yeah, there'll be some good videos this week. I'm super excited to get that phase converter going. I want to get that done Tuesday or Wednesday because once I get the oil changed in the 14-inch reed, I want to do some videos of it up and running. And I need to adjust the brake. So I need it running to adjust the brake on it. And then we'll just run my other 3-phase stuff. My 3-phase stuff's down right now because I took all the wiring away to make room for that. I think I did okay on the wiring in the box. There's some stuff I would have done differently. I'm going to find a smaller box. But that'll be a year down the road when I find a smaller box at an auction. But it is big. And yeah. I really worked today to knock out, yesterday and today, to knock out lawnmowers when I wasn't on the road picking up the shaper. So I don't have too much of that kind of stuff. I do have a pump housing. I'm Tuesday or Wednesday, got a pump housing I need to do a cast iron repair job on. I'll film that when I do it, if we choose to repair it. The housing, it's on the volute case. It's wore pretty thin. It's thin enough that air hammer, he thought it was initially freeze damage. The pump didn't get drained, but it wasn't leaking before. And then, unfortunately, a pump was turned on and the air relief in that section was off. And so it didn't shatter a section out, but it cracked it. And it's really thin. I told him I'd try to fix it, and if I couldn't do it, I wouldn't charge him. But it's a thin casting. It's been in the field in abrasive conditions for 25, 30 years. When I do castings that thin, I usually do the cold method of stick welding them with cast iron rods, where I do like an inch at a time, then let it cool completely. Inch at a time, cool completely. I've had very, very good luck doing it that way. And I typically don't braze the castings when they're that thin. I mean, it's thin. So thin enough that I was telling him, I don't know how much I'm going to peen the weld when I'm done, so I don't punch through the areas next to it. So we'll see. I've had on really thin casting like that, I've had very, very good luck doing the cold, I call it the cold start method. Wow, that's really beat up right there. Sorry, looking at my lathe. So I'll weld an inch, walk away, do something else, let it cool down, come back, weld an inch. The crack's about 7-8 inches long. But you have to keep on the pump, you have to keep the case, the tolerance is there. So we'll see. I know this farmer very well. I know how much a new pump's going to cost. And I'm going to be trying to fix that housing for him. Yeah, I'd like to show more of it because I'm working on a lot of cast iron because I do a lot of work on old tractors and I do a lot of pump repair on pump housings. And most of them are cast iron. Just the ones I do in the field, I don't film much stuff in the field because, like I've said before, that's not my time. And usually it's me there and then their mechanic and then sometimes a foreman of some kind, and they're like, it needs to get fixed now. So I can't be like, hey guys, I need to set up my camera. So, and you guys need to stay out of the picture while I'm doing this. I will film everything that comes into the shop now. I'll start filming. Because in my opinion, and I'm not a certified welder and all that other stuff, I've welded on a lot of cast iron. I don't think it's as hard as people make it out to be. Now, it depends on what it is. If it's a big, thick casting and stuff, some of the thicker castings, I put them in an oven. I'm not recommending you guys do this, but if it's a clean casting, I'll put it in my oven in my house. Again, I'm not married anymore, so I can do stuff like that. Or something. Or I'll heat it in some kind of controlled way and get it up to temperature. And then I'll weld it and I'm a big fan of peening the welds on cast iron. And I typically stick weld them. I do brazing. I have lots of braze rod. But I've done so much of it with stick that's my preferred go-to method, because when I'm in the field, I always do it with stick. In the shop, I do a lot of it. I used to do a lot of it with brazing, but when you do one technique for so long, you tend to stick with that technique. So I use high nickel rods and stuff like that. A buddy of mine who's a farmer welds all his cast iron with 7018, and his stuff rarely breaks after he does it. He just doesn't care. He's fixing stuff for the day. Yeah, and like John says, it's the cooling down. If I weld something in my shop, when I'm done welding, I'll go back and put it in my oven and slowly back the temperature down. I used to have a 4x4, those plastic barrels, those plastic containers, they're 200 gallon, that have the metal cage around them. I had one that had the top cut off and it was full of sand. That's what I was putting them in. And I've even wrapped them in the heat, like a wrap welding, like a Sandtech. Done that. Yeah, I generally stick weld all my cast iron. I do some brazing, but can you use epoxy for buildup after welding? I mean, if it's just for filling it, like smoothing it over for like a paint application or something, yeah, you could do that. I used to heat things with in the field, I have one of those propane, those propane weed burner torches. They hook to the bigger tanks. And I know it sounds crude, but I, of course, make sure the motor isn't right there. If it's a close couple motor, I know it's a pain to disconnect the close couple motor and scoot it off. But if it's just with a normal, the rubber, the gland, you can pull it off, no big deal. Of course, you have to get the water out of it. I'll normally heat it with that because it's not going to hurt. You're not going to get it hot enough typically to hurt the gasket seal in the back. And if you're going to that effort, you should have gaskets with you anyway. I'll clean it up. I'll V it really, really, really good. And then I'll heat it with that propane torch, that weed burner thing for quite a while. I should get temperature sticks, those temperature crayon things. I should get those. If I just get it hot, then I stick weld it. And I've had no pumps I've ever done have failed that I've stick welded. You do have to be careful when it's like where the flange. There's going to be a part like that where the flange is on there. I like to sometimes bolt everything up and then weld the crack in it if they've taken it apart. Because sometimes the misalignment of flanges, people, I don't know why, I always recommend against this. When you install a pump, the pump should just be able to be pushed into the inlet and the outlet, and just you put your gaskets and bolt it in. You do not want your pump housing taking the stress, because everything else is steel and the pump housing is cast iron. So many of the problems I've seen, it'll bolt right up to the inlet out thing. And then they have to get like a come along to another pipe to get the outlet pipe lined up. And then they have to put in like a smaller bolt to draw it in. Then they put in the actual bolts. No, that is terrible for pumps. If you have to pull it in, what I do is I'll take a rosebud. If I take a pump apart for a repair, and even if it's over about a quarter bolt hole off when I unbolt it, I bolt it back up, and then I heat the pipe to take the stresses out of it. And a lot of times, if you do that, depending on how hot you get it, how far out you go, you can release the stresses in the pipe with the rosebud, and you'll take the bolts out, and the pipe will stay right there. So that's a little tip for you. Don't put pump housings in under stress, because they already vibrate. They're cast iron, so they're brittle. So it should just bolt right in and out. You shouldn't pry against it or push it with the bucket of a tractor to get the pipes to line up. No. And I thought about a laser thermometer. I was actually looking at them today when I was at Home Depot getting I'm going to add a bunch of electrical outlets and stuff in the shop. I was looking at them. Because I had one, I can't find it. A laser thermometer is very good at finding hydraulic leaks when it's going through valves and stuff, because it'll get hot. For diagnosing hydraulic stuff, a thermometer is a very good tool. We'll go for a few more minutes here. Then I gotta go eat, and then got a few more things to do to get that phase converter going. Hi, Timothy. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, it should be a good week of videos, getting a lot done. Some more machinery moved. Done a lot of cleanup in the shop too. Moved all the C-clamps. I moved all the tap and die stuff. I need to not go to any more yard sales, but I can't help it. I have so much random stuff in here. But excited to go get that punch press and that bandsaw next weekend. Or this coming weekend. That'll be cool. Hopefully they don't need oodles of work done, but oh, another cool thing about the shaper I got is this has a normal 220 motor on it. So that really makes it a lot more places in the shop I can put it without having to fight cords. It just has a cool gearbox on it. I'll show you guys tomorrow when I do the video on it. It only has a 2-horse motor on it. The guy kept some pretty good chips he took with it. So, very cool. Yeah, yard sales they've become my thing the last couple of years. Every Saturday and Friday sometimes, but every Saturday first 3-4 hours of the day. That's what I'm doing. I've actually been doing pretty good the last couple of years. Hey, Sierra Stubby. Oh yeah, it'll launch him off the end if you take a good enough cut. The guy I got it from, he was making quick change tool puck holders. And what he would do, and it's a very good idea, is he'd take a piece like 12 inches long and he'd cut the dovetail in them in the big long piece, and then he would take them to a saw and cut them up in like 4 or 5 different ones per slab. So it's still a very accurate machine for the 100 years old that it is. It's not as full featured as the more modern ones, of course. It's a very basic shaper, but it's good size for my shop. I'm not a big fan of where the on-off button is in relation to all the belts that are moving, all the unguarded belts, but we can address that. It is a 20-inch stroke shaper. It's a G&E, which I can't remember the Gilbert and it says on there, but it's a G&E 20-inch shaper from the late 19 teens. It's a cool machine. I like the drive that's on it. It was originally made for flat belt, of course, and it has a 4-cone pulley on it. So, but the guy has a 4-speed V-belt to flat belt drive unit on it, which is a nice looking unit. Yeah, it's about as big as I would ever need, and I know there's a bigger one, but it's a really good. I think I'm going to really like it in the shop. I'm very, very excited to have it. They never show up in my area. This is the first one I've seen for sale within 3 hours of me in probably 9 or 10 months. So very glad to have it. Yep, it'll be out tomorrow. I'll do a walk around and it running, and then I'll do some test cut video later that week. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I'll do a video, like I said, later this week on Logan's. I had one of my favorite lathes I ever had was a Logan Powermatic variable speed lathe. Oh, thanks for joining us, Sierra Stubby. I'll see you later too. Yeah, variable speed lathe, and I love that lathe. That turret lathe I might get next weekend if the guy can find a turret for it's a Logan. I like Logans. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day on the live stream. I got some more stuff to do tonight, and I need to go make dinner. So again, I'll do a video this week. We'll see about maybe picking a different day of the week to do the live streams. I'm not so busy, or keep on Sunday, or maybe I'll just do 2. We'll see. So again, thank you all for joining. Thanks everyone for commenting. Thanks for checking out my channel. Super appreciate it. Thanks for subscribing if you're a subscriber and commenting and all that good stuff. And you guys all have a great night, and you guys have a great week.